is it about humanity's obsession with life after the end of the world? Is it related to eugenics, the notion of the survival of the fittest and those most fit or prepared will survive the apocalypse? Or is it an extension of North American deluded individualism, where we love to believe that if we were just left alone, with no boss or government or whatever to hold us back, that we would lead much more fulfilling and happier lives? I don't know if there's a real answer to this, but nevertheless, an indie studio called The Chinese Room wanted to create their own interpretation of a life after a catastrophe. A life engrossed in beauty. So why choose this route? Well, The Chinese Room has always tried to explore games in a new, intriguing, and often unconventional manner. They are indeed best known for creating experimental first-person games like Dear Esther and Amnesia. But what I think stands out most about Everybody's Gone to the Rapture is not its captivating storyline, but instead, it's the bizarre and uncanny feeling you get while walking across and playing through this cozy catastrophe. Now, what do I mean by this? Well, Brian Aldiss, a science fiction writer and anthologies editor, coined the phrase cozy catastrophe. His vision of what the essence of a cozy catastrophe is that the hero or protagonist should have a pretty good time while everyone else is dying off. But The Chinese Room had a slightly different vision.
Jess and I grew up in the 80s, and it was a really strange time because it was kind of before the internet, really before mobiles, before that kind of idea of global communication. So it kind of felt like a small rural community could be properly isolated. All we had to do was block 3 roads, turn off 2 television channels, and the world was gone.
Their idea of a cozy catastrophe was a resolutely British idea of the apocalypse, containing very little violence or explosive trauma and experienced by small communities rather than mass populations. But I think there's a deeper, more essential understanding here. When you think of the word catastrophe, the immediate impression you get is that something disastrous has occurred. Our understanding of catastrophe has almost become synonymous with destruction. Take, for example, other post-apocalyptic games like Fallout 4 and The Last of Us, which both reference ruined cities, one rural and one urban. Both of these games show catastrophe not as a colorful textural setting, but instead it displays our perception of what catastrophe is understood as. That is an environment that is cold, grim, and tropic and isolating. But what Everybody's Gone to the Rapture sets out to do is to explore the opposite. A catastrophe that is calm, not induced in havoc, one that is vibrant, not dull, and one that poses the intimate against the epic. In that sense, this particular catastrophe is something we can recognize. It is the familiar that invites us to explore and leaves us in nostalgia. When I was playing the game for the first time, I found myself being engaged in discovering a world that I could already relate to. It's almost like the fictional village of Jotun is mapped out identically to a real-life place. Oh shit, yeah it is. Now that's not to discredit the game at all. This simply reinforces the notion that this game made me feel like I was at home, even though my home looks nothing like this. This welcoming experience is what propelled me to want to uncover what happened to the people of Jotun, and how this cozy town turned catastrophic. Well, at least that's what the game wanted me to feel. The game aesthetically is simply beautiful, from weather changing in accordance to the linear timeline, or fire being represented as energy. It is nonetheless stunning, and the game wants you to see that. That is why the game developers decided to incorporate a sprint speed that begins when you hold the sprint button down for 7 seconds. Yes, 7 seconds. Now that is a pretty lengthy period for a response that is almost immediate in every other game that has a sprint button. But of course you aren't really supposed to know this functionality exists, as the game never displays nor mentions the use of sprinting unless you look up the controller settings yourself. This was done deliberately, as its intention was for you, the user, to soak up the environment and to do it slowly, forcing you to appreciate the textural nuances of the idyllic English countryside and to make you fall in love with a place that is ridden by devastation. Now, it is important to understand that this devastation is not the chemical agent that is used against the people of Jotun, nor is it the light that destroys any human life that comes in contact with it. No, the real devastation here, the true ugliness that exists, and the catastrophe that it encompasses, is the people of this small town. Let's look at someone who could be argued as being the central figure of the narrative, Stephen. Prior to the incident, Stephen was simply selfish.
The alignment event tomorrow. It's yours, okay? You saw the opportunity, you ran the numbers. even if they can't see it. I'm proud of you.
Is that supposed to make me feel better?
Stephen.
In this scene, Stephen's scientific paper gets rejected, but he resents any emotional betterment that Kate tries to deliver by staying bitter. As the ephemeral force spreads throughout the town, his attempts at making things right turn for the worse because of who he is. His vision of help is mostly yelling at people, not explaining himself, calling for a chemical airstrike, and killing a man out of anger. But more importantly, Stephen has an affair with his old ex-girlfriend Lizzie as a way to cope with the burden and stress he receives from others for dating Kate. The town people perceive Kate as an outsider or as an alien that doesn't belong in such a collective community. So by rekindling the love with Lizzie, he subconsciously feels relief and acceptance by everyone. As for Lizzie, she is also having an affair on her husband because she finds her marriage to be dull and boring. Sean and Diana, who are both side characters, try unsuccessfully to escape Yon while leaving their baby at a day camp and accidentally killing Lizzie's husband in the process. Frank drowns his sorrow at the pub while his wife slowly dies at their house, and he remains angry at Father Jeremy for euthanizing his wife even though she was suffering. It wasn't until the very end until Frank forgave Jeremy, but that was only because Frank knew the end was coming. Now, Kate seems to be the major victim here, but she responds in her own spiteful ways. After finding out how the light energy spreads, she makes no attempt in stopping it because of how she was treated by everyone in the town. Sounds a little malicious to me. But the worst of them all is Wendy, a hard-nosed, controlling woman who believes she is well-intentioned, but in reality, she does more harm than good. She continually detests Kate's presence, whether it's to her face or behind her back, and is deceitful as she helps set up and encourage Stephen's affair with Lizzie because she believed Lizzie belonged to the community, whereas Kate was an outsider since she was American. Wendy justifies her actions by saying someone has to say what everyone else is thinking. This shows that she never truly helps someone in a lesser position. She only reinforces the perpetual cycle of hate.
It's in an awful state, Stephen. I don't
It'll
think
be an
she'll...
adventure. It'll mean putting down roots here, maybe a family.
Are you sure she wants children? What, to stay here? It's not her place, you know. If it's a family you want, well, you know how much Lizzie wants a family.
Damn, Wendy, you are ruthless. Of all the people in Yon, Jeremy is the only one who shows any compassion. As a priest, he helps to be the leader of the community by visiting and assisting those who are scared and confused about what is occurring in their town. He approaches them in a very caring manner, recognizing and acknowledging the faults that people carry. In this sense, Jeremy embodies the good of this town and uses his power as a priest to evoke the same emotion within others. It is through these characters that lies the heart of this game. Everybody's Gone to the Rapture presents us with a world of familiarity all too real, one that is recognizable both by its nature and by its infrastructure. The interconnectedness of the spirited characters is what gives oxygen to this world, and it is why we can resonate and empathize with the people of Yon. But the catastrophe here isn't the spread of some alien entity. No, the real catastrophe is what lies underneath this facade as it shows us the painful side of a beautiful world. A world both recognizable and troublesome. A true cozy catastrophe. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. It really did take a lot of work and effort. But if it's something that you guys liked, please leave a comment, rate, subscribe, or even if it's something that you didn't like, just leave a comment. Let me know what to fix next time. Thanks guys, I'm out.